owning video games will soon be a thing of the past. That's essentially what a Ubisoft executive said when asked about what the future of gaming will look like. Just wait until you hear this. As we move toward a subscription-based world, it'll begin to feel convenient. I mean, $15 for 250 plus games at the palm of your hands, it's almost too good to be true. Well, that's because it is. There's a huge drawback that no one seems to be talking about. According to Ubisoft's director of subscriptions, he believes that gamers need to get comfortable with not owning their games in order for subscription services to do well. They plan on doing this by getting rid of physical media, just like how Best Buy got rid of CDs and DVDs. Video games could be next. I mean, think about it. Alan Wake 2 launched digital only, and some physical titles still require you to download the entire game. We also see Xbox and PlayStation making this push, having to buy a disc drive for the PS5, and the leaked Xbox console has no disc drive at all. This is worrying because digital media can be removed from your library with no refund because you're actually paying for the license to use it.
So, as the other videos point out, and as the article says, the director of subscriptions at Ubisoft, Philippe Tremblay, was quoted, "Consumers got comfortable not owning their CD collection or DVD collection," he said. "That transformation has been a bit slower to happen in games. As gamers grow comfortable in that aspect, you don't lose your progress. If you resume your game at another time, your progress file is still there. That's not deleted. You don't lose what you've built in the game or your engagement with the game, so it's about being comfortable with not owning your game." Essentially what he is trying to do is draw parallels between Ubisoft, where Ubisoft might want to go, and streaming platforms like Netflix, HBO, you name it, where you do not own the video you are watching, but rather, or a copy of it, but rather viewing it, and it might go away eventually, right? We see this all the time. Now, one thing that's important to note, that is somewhat of a similar idea with games on Steam or even... That's the one thing Kinsey, I think that's how you pronounce it, got wrong. Most physical games just serve as license keys that, unless you're buying a PC game without DRM, these are games like from GOG or Good Old Gaming, or physical games from legacy consoles, so anything that's probably been developed in the last 10 years, all you are doing is just buying the license, even if you buy the physical copy. There is no guarantee that you are actually owning the game itself, just the right to play it. And so I think this is something as gamers we really need to be worried about. Obviously, I am guilty here of buying most of my games through Steam, and so I too am somewhat participating in this, though I am not looking to do like a Game Pass or anything like that, because there are a lot of implications about this that can be very worrisome for us, right? Once most game developers and publishers start moving to non-physical games or just doing a subscription-based service to play games, we are going to see a lot of negative drawbacks from this from the gaming community as the game. The first is just all around the continuity of playing games, right? You know, as we see with current movies nowadays and shows that are on different streaming platforms, once they leave that platform for whatever reason, you can no longer watch on that platform, and if you want to watch it on the other one, you have to either pay for it or you have to pay for a digital copy of it. So the same thing that we're dealing with here, which is a concern, right? The second part of this too is, what does this mean for abandonware? Hopefully that means that platforms like GOG can really just take off and just collect all the abandonware, but we're already seeing issues with that, with the lack of physical copies and the lack of ability to get to some of these games, right? I would love to see someone either come out with or have a better version, a more compatible version of the Black and White series. But it's not really done right now. It's not really feasible. There's so many games that I wish I could play from my childhood that we just don't have access to. You have to buy physical copies that are super expensive. And this trend of continually going down this road of removing physical copies is only going to make legacy games and abandonware games just more expensive to own. So that's also another consideration that has to be made here. Lastly, what this also means is just that it's going to mean that you require an online connection almost every single time you play a game. This is one issue that I have with like Nintendo Switch, for instance. They have a lot of cool things on the Nintendo store, whether it be like the Super Nintendo or the N64 emulator, but that does require you to periodically check in, so to speak, on an internet connection. If you do not have one, eventually they will stop allowing you to play games on it. And that's something where I primarily use my Nintendo Switch to play while I'm traveling. So that might mean that I go for days without being able to connect to an internet connection on my Switch. And so that's another thing that video game publishers are also going to do. The whole concept of this, of moving to a subscription-based model. Yeah, maybe you get more games to a certain degree, but this is anti-consumer, to say the least. This is only going to hurt us in the gaming community. So let me know what you think. I'm very skeptical. I'm really hopeful we don't move towards this direction. Maybe this is where I need to vote with my wallet. Certainly, at least by avoiding any video game subscriptions. But maybe this also means that I need to reconsider how I purchase video games in the future. I want to get your thoughts. Let me know what you think. And yeah, this is Last Pro Weekend, and take it easy, guys.